What separates the human from the divine? It is not the body, nor is it time. It is forgetfulness. The forgetfulness that we are gods, and that our soul is as ancient as the creation of the universe itself. Among all spiritual traditions that have tried to awaken humanity to its celestial origins, few are as complete, as deep, or as dangerously revealing as Hermeticism. In modern life, hectic, superficial, saturated with stimuli, most seek immediate relief for pains that demand to be heard, not rushed. But the Hermeticist does not seek relief. He does not want ready-made answers or formulas. He seeks the key that opens the final door, and that key is not found in books, gurus, or doctrines. It rests in the innermost core of the being, wrapped in 7 veils. Finding it is not a journey outward, but a continuous plunge inward. This video is a map, not a manual. A map for those who wish to live as true Hermeticists amidst concrete cities, smartphone glare, and the digital noise of sleeping masses. If you've made it this far, perhaps you're ready to remember. The unbearable silence. There is something unbearable about silence to a mind conditioned by noise. Most people, when freed from external sounds, quickly fill the void with thoughts, memories, worries. We cannot bear silence because it reveals us, and most are unprepared to see themselves without masks. But silence is not emptiness. It is presence, a living, fertile field where all truth emerges. In Hermetic traditions, silence is more than a virtue. It is a spiritual technology, a science of inner listening. In the inner chambers of Egyptian temples, the neophyte's first portal was not of words, but of absence. Upon entering the mysteries, the initiate was deprived of stimuli, confined to darkness and absolute silence. There, in what modern man would call punishment, the channel to the invisible world began to open. As the Book of the Dead taught, the silence of the heart is the dwelling place of the gods. Hermes Trismegistus, master of masters, understood silence as the womb of the Logos, the matrix of the creative word. Before anything can be spoken, it must be heard, and only in silence can listening become pure. The science of the unseen. Modern science, though hesitant before the invisible, now glimpses the depths of this ancient practice. Research at the University of Helsinki's Institute for Cognitive Sciences revealed that 2 minutes of absolute silence activates brain zones responsible for emotional processing and sensory integration more intensely than prolonged music. In other words, silence reorganizes. The Hermeticist's quest. But the Hermeticist is not satisfied with surface silence. He seeks silence of the environment, silence of the mind, silence of the identity, where no I tries to control, interpret, or understand. This is the silence where the being surrenders to the flow of the all. The Corpus Hermeticum declares, "Renounce the word if you wish to hear the divine word." This is not metaphor, it is instruction. What we call the voice of God, higher intuition, or gnosis, cannot be heard while the mind is full of itself. To live as a Hermeticist today requires deliberate creation of silent spaces, not as escape, but as communion, not as passivity, but as invocation of the real. Silence, then, becomes a practice, an invisible laboratory where consciousness is refined. It is in stillness that the alchemist distills the dense vapors of the ego until only the essence remains, clear, formless, nameless. Meditation, in the Hermetic light, is not mere concentration, but an offering of attention. The goal is not to silence the mind by force, but to listen beyond it. As Plotinus, direct heir of the Hermetic lineage, said, "The mind must become blind to see with the light of the soul," the sacred science of silence. Silence is the first step of the ritual. No force is invoked, no sigil drawn, no sacred name pronounced, unless the space has been silenced, inside and out. For the word only holds power when born from a pure womb. The modern Hermeticist, even wrapped in city routines, cultivates this silence as a priest tends the altar. He wakes before the crowd, not to be productive, but to listen. He walks in silence, eats in silence, contemplates in silence, not as habit, but as right. For he knows silence is the only mirror where truth reflects without distortion, and little by little, silence ceases to be a moment of the day and becomes a state of being. The body moves, the voice speaks, tasks are completed, yet within, silence remains, a still center within the world's whirlwind. This is the first step. Without it, all spiritual seeking is just noise in disguise. But with it, even the simplest gesture, drinking water, gazing at the sky, washing dishes, becomes a sacred act. Silence is not the opposite of the word. It is its cradle, and it is there that the Hermeticist begins to remember who he is. The body as alchemical vessel. Long before the body was seen as a machine, it was perceived as a temple, and long before it was a temple, it was understood as a mirror of the cosmos, the soul, the divine laws. The Hermeticist walks this ancient path where the body is neither object nor obstacle, but a portal, a living laboratory where the great work unfolds. Unlike traditions that scorn the flesh, the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus affirm the body is the visible manifestation of the invisible. As the Emerald Tablet declares, that which is above is like that which is below, and that which is below is like that which is above, to accomplish the miracles of the One. The body is this sacred below within it. The heart mirrors the inner sun, the liver channels Mars' warrior fire, the kidneys hold Libra's balance. This is not pop astrology, but a profound vision of the body as microcosm, the incarnation of subtle forces in organized matter. Reconsecrating the flesh. But how to live this wisdom in a world that treats the body as either a tool for production or an object for display? The answer is simple: reconsecration. The Hermeticist consecrates the body daily, not with grand rituals, but through inner alchemy, eating as if feeding a god, breathing as if invoking a spirit, moving with awareness, knowing each gesture will made visible in matter. Paracelsus, the 16th century alchemist physician, taught, the body is the laboratory of the spirit, and the blood is its mercury. Blood carries memories, emotions, traumas. Breath is the fire that heats this inner cauldron. Food is the raw material of transmutation. Sleep, the stage of dissolution. Nothing is banal. Everything is ritual. Even modern science now glimpses fragments of this truth. Epigenetics reveals how emotions alter gene expression. Biophysics detects the body's electromagnetic fields, what ancients called vital fluids. The vessel must be pure. If the body is intoxicated, fragmented, or distracted, no alchemy is possible. The sacred instrument. The Hermeticist needs no scientific validation to recognize the body as sacred. He feels it. He listens to it. He honors it. To live as a Hermeticist in modernity is to slow every gesture, chewing, bathing, walking with priestly presence. Transform stretching into a ritual for opening subtle channels. Make rest an offering to the spirit dwelling in flesh. This is not about health obsession or aesthetic worship, but about tempering the vessel to contain divine fire. For when spiritual energy circulates, an unprepared body breaks. Many magic aspirants burn out, not from dangerous practice, but from bodies too impure to conduct the current. The alchemy of breath. Breath is the most direct path to align body, mind, and spirit, the all breathing within us. By breathing with attention, long, deep, silent, we revive atrophied channels, prana, Hindus, pneuma, Greeks, ruach, Hebrews. All point to one mystery. There is something in air that is more than air. There is spirit. In ancient rites, breath preceded every invocation, not by chance, but because it establishes the field. It is the first step toward transmutation. The elemental laboratory. The body is a hidden laboratory where eternal elements intertwine: earth in bones, structure, water in blood, memory, fire in desire, movement, air in breath, bridge between worlds, ether in consciousness. The silent unity to understand the body as temple is to know. Every intake is an offering. Every sensation is a teaching. Every action is ritual. As Hermes Trismegistus taught, all is one, and the one reveals itself in all, first in this body, our temporary house, portable temple, clay vessel that, when purified, holds the God's wine. The mind, altar or battleground. If the body is the temple, the mind is the altar, where spirit's flame is lit or extinguished. Like any altar, it can be consecrated through discipline, desecrated by chaos. Hermetic wisdom warns, the mind is not spirit's enemy, nor is it spirit's natural ally. It is neutral, and thus dangerous. The Kabbalion begins, the all is mind, the universe is mental. This is no intellectual exercise, but a call to supreme responsibility. If reality mirrors our mind structure, clarity demands cleansing inherited beliefs, digesting trapped memories, examining compulsive desires. Most thinking is mere reaction. The modern mind is a house overrun by uninvited guests, while the true owner sleeps. To live as a Hermeticist is to reclaim sovereignty. He initiatic gardener's gaze. To master this inner space is to observe one's own mind with the attention of an initiatic gardener, one who neither judges the weed nor lets it grow unchecked. The Hermeticist watches, and through watching transforms. Silence prepares the soil, but discernment cultivates the right seeds. Here the mind reveals its dual nature as mirror reflecting truth, as sword cutting illusion. With the precision of a surgeon, the Hermeticist wields this mental blade, peeling away veils of falsehood about self, world, others, and God. Only by piercing illusions can one behold reality. The alchemy of remembrance. Plato, heir to Hermetic wisdom through Pythagorean and Orphic lineages, taught that all knowledge is remembrance. The disciplined mind serves not to accumulate facts, but to remove debris blocking this sacred recall. The Hermetic mind is not a library, but clarity, not anti-reason, but reason purified by silence and guided by intuition. As Jung, steeped in Gnostic and Hermetic traditions, discovered, enlightenment comes not by imagining light, but by making darkness conscious. The Hermeticist studies shadows, for gold hides in mud, treats thoughts as alchemical reagents. Does this bring expansion or contraction, clarity or fear? Transforms mental patterns into sacred symbols through contemplation. The crystal mind. The mind is like prismatic crystal. At base level, it scatters light, distracted thought. When aligned, it focuses light, lucid awareness. When perfected, it becomes portal to gnosis, direct knowing. Practical tools for this transformation: Socratic self-inquiry, archetypal work, Hermetic journaling, active imagination, yet all require pure intention, razor attention. In its highest state, the mind serves not ego, but the all transforms from battlefield to instrument of higher will. As the Corpus Hermeticum declares, when mind and heart unite, the mortal becomes bridge to immortal. The forged mind. The mind, when purified, becomes a field of creation where divine seeds take root, a mirror reflecting cosmic truth without distortion, a sword defending wisdom with unyielding edge. The modern Hermeticist does not flee the mind. He hones it like a sacred tool. And when its work is done, he releases it like a boat abandoned at shore, having crossed the waters of illusion. The alchemy of will. Will is the inner fire that transforms knowledge into path, tempers intuition into action, aligns intention with destiny. In Hermetic tradition, will is not mere desire. It is undying flame, unshaken by doubt's winds or worldly storms. Its sole purpose? To accomplish the work. And what is the work? Not a career, not a mission, but your soul's imperative. The reason you were placed in this world. The point where microcosm, you, and macrocosm, all, meet. As the Corpus Hermeticum warns, you shall not attain the highest while your will is divided. Every choice is a renunciation. In our distraction-saturated age, maintaining unified will is the supreme act of magic. The crucible of modernity. The modern world, fragments attention like shattered glass, demands productivity without purpose, pedals movement without direction. The Hermeticist swims against this current. He lives not by inertia, but by deliberate decision. True will is heard, not imposed, a whisper in silence. Manifests as holy discontent. A gnawing sense of misalignment offers no earthly guarantees, only soul certainty. As Crowley, misunderstood Hermeticist, wrote, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." Where wilt means not whim, but sacred imperative springing from the soul's core. Daily transmutation. For the Hermeticist, life is no mere sequence of events, but a living alchemy. Pain becomes philosopher's stone failure, ferments into wisdom, wine ecstasy, distills to concentrated truth. Each day he shapes reality like a hidden furnace tender, not from control lust, but from reverence for the work. His labor leaves no visible trace, yet reshapes worlds within. The silent alchemist. The Hermeticist's work leaves no visible trace, yet it alters reality itself. His presence shifts atmospheres, his words rearrange energy fields, his simplest actions become sacred symbols. This is not about grand achievements, but about absolute coherence. True will manifests in how one listens with full presence, how one walks, as if each step hallows ground, how one speaks, words measured like alchemical ingredients. There are no small acts for those who live ritually. The science of sacred will. Research from the HeartMath Institute confirms focused intention plus heart-mind alignment equals alters both human physiology and electromagnetic fields. The will's field organizes reality, like a magnet aligning iron filings. But this demands perfect congruence. Thought, emotion, word, action, all flowing as one current. This rarity makes it potent. Purified will as sacred offering. When will is refined in the inner fire, it ceases wanting, begins serving. It stops conquering, starts expressing the all-life, then becomes the magnum opus, not metaphorically, but hermetically, dense being, transfigured into light-base lead, sublimated to gold, flickering spark, blazing sun. The modern Hermeticist's path. He is not defined by secret knowledge hoarded, but by a life consecrated to singular purpose, armed with will as his. Vehicle, chariot of fire, tool, flaming sword of truth, sacrament, communion with the all. He walks the world simply, yet each step trembles with power. His mission? Not to flee matter, but redeem it, deny the world, but consecrate it, for he knows spirit achieves fullest expression only when wholly incarnate. The true Hermeticist seeks not escape, but transfiguration,